so many kids are worried about what they don't have because of what
Mm.
existed in the past, or what they don't want, even worse, because of their past, or more, as we have spoken already, about what other people think or want for us is a big problem. Welcome to Entrepreneurs the Playbook. I'm David Meltzer, and I am excited to have someone who's on the same mission that I'm on, to make a lot of money, to help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun. The founder of I Am for Kids, the incredible Mark Papadas, is here with me today. Thank you so much, Mark, for
Oh,
joining me.
thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
Well, thank you. Well, speaking of I Am for Kids, what was the motivation to send your life into a dedicated force for youth empowerment?
Well, I'd been a personal development coach and a sales coach for so-called grown-ups for about 10 years before I had my epiphany, which was to take what I'd been teaching to adults and apply it at a point in a person's life where it'll actually have the biggest impact and the longest lasting impact. And that's when they're kids, right? Because to me, the I am statement is the most important thing that we have for ourselves. And if you haven't given it any conscious thought, then it's the loudest voices that are in your orbit that have decided that for you.
And understanding how kids learn, they're either taught or they caught the lessons.
Yeah,
I Am for Kids blends the self development expertise in which you have with some really innovative programs to transform not only education, but entertainment. It's kind of like Tony Robbins meets Charlie Brown.
exactly. That's, because you can't, it's hard to get lessons to kids if you're just trying to transfer knowledge. They have to have fun while they're doing it. And that's really where the animated characters all come in with what we're trying to do.
And technology plays an integral part of that today, where we've seen innovation in animation since the whistling black and white mouse
Right.
of our incredible Mickey Mouse.
Steamboat Willie, that's right. Yep.
Steamboat Willie changed the world. And now you're taking kind of the I am lessons that you taught as a personal development expert, and the lessons that you learned by finding the child in us to actually empower children that with these two methodologies. Let's talk about I am. In existentialism, studying Kierkegaard, these two words seem so simple when I was in 11th grade AP English, but have perplexed me and surrounded my studies for now almost 40 years. How do we birth this concept of I am, not this is what I want people to think I am?
Well, part of it just has to be the conscious thought about it. Like I said, most people, adults or kids, have never really thought about who they are, right? They just think that that's kind of how you were born. This is who I am. But you and I know that you get to decide that. And the way that especially when we're talking about with the kids, because the kids love to act, they love to play, is to get them to develop the character, to use an acting terminology of who they are. And then all they have to do is live up to what their character would do in these particular situations. They decide that. And then sure, there's going to be some times when you have to improv. And that's the great thing about your I am statement is it can grow with you from 8 all the way up to 88.
And understanding the 10 secrets to empower kids and awaken the child in you, which was your book. How do those secrets apply to kids themselves instead of adults empowering and awakening the kid in us?
So the book is actually really designed more for the parents, for the teachers, and it's how to get the kids to continue in their growth. So some of the those secrets are, the number one, which is kind of how I got my moniker of the be great guy, is be great. And anytime I leave an interaction with a child, whether it was my own kids when they were younger, clients, etc., is I always end it with be great. And their response with enthusiasm is I am. And over a period of time, using neuroplasticity, et cetera, it actually builds that mind-body connection in the child to where they do believe that they are great. But like you were talking about whether it's taught or caught, there's a lot of things that parents do, not necessarily maliciously, but things that they do just in their everyday life that those kids catch. And they then start to think, okay, well, if mom or dad feels that way about themselves or about this particular person, I don't think that way about them, but I must be wrong because they're my role models, right? So it's teaching the parents to be positive, to be consistent, right? To let kids learn lessons for themselves and that decisions have consequences, and to not let, for example, the last and final one is that failure is not an option. Right? It's like, when was the last time you saw a kid quit trying to walk? It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, that definitely doesn't happen. No, in order to amplify the messages, amplify the mission, we need to fund these types of things. And in personal development, in adultainment for kids and families, we need to support them. What are some of the types of funding that we could provide to help amplify this empowering system for children and families?
Well, I would say number one is, so we are a startup. Okay, so we are actually launching our pre-seed round of venture capital. So if somebody just wants to go to I am the number four kids entertainment.com. That'll take you to our WeFunder page where we've got all of the information about the traction that we've done, where your investment is going to go, all you name it, is there soup to nuts. Okay. So that would be number one because we want to launch the entire brand. It's one thing to start off with, say, a TV show or a doll and to kind of build on it, build on it, and build on it. But we want to start a fire that can go worldwide as quickly as possible. So that would be the best way to do that. We are already on our website, we are already offering our family coaching, which takes the kids through the identity building process, but also helps to get using the kids to get to the parents to where we can literally empower the entire family. And that's at iamforkids.com. We've got our three programs that are all there. Other than that, those would be, I said, would be the main two. But then I would say if you could just follow us on social media because we're producing content that in short pieces to get people to want to find out about more about everything else. But I would say number one would be the venture capital, and number two would be just to go ahead and sign up for our programs.
And in those programs, how long do they take? What can kids get out of it, and what do the families get out of it?
So our core program is we call it the I'm for Kids Family Pack, and it's a 4-week program where we take the kids through building that identity building process for them, and then there's basically a week-long homework. We come back the following week, etc. That is for the time being because we are starting those up. That is a lifetime membership that you'll be able to do. There are other programs. We're doing basically it's a mastermind for kids and families. So where we're going to be bringing in subject matter experts in addition to myself to be able to teach parents and the kids how to be more empowered, how to do things that aren't necessarily within my area of expertise. And then the one that we think is really going to be the longest term, the biggest ticket, if you will, is the I'm for Kids Academy. And those are going to be a lot of the things that we as adults say, why didn't they teach us this when we were in school? I'd be so much farther ahead of where I am now. And that is going to be, we see that actually developing into a franchise opportunity to where there'll be I Am for Kids academies in cities all over the world.
And in the aspect of self identity, what are some of the challenges that the kids have today? I know, especially with social media, there's some issues there. What are some of the issues or challenges that kids have? Why they don't have a positive self identity?
Well, what really shocked us is when we were doing our pilot classrooms for our school program. And right now we are giving that program away. Literally any public elementary school has to do is just go in and ask for it, and we will let them have it. Okay. In our pilot classrooms, we found that so the very first step of the process is to write down your identity. And most of the time, this is when people, quote unquote, tell the truth about what they think now. And with the kids, we found that over half of them answered with a one-word answer, which that was not surprising because that's how kids answer question, right? How was school today? Good. That was expected. But over 50% of them answered with a one-word answer was a negative trait or characteristic, with the three most popular being I am fat, I am stupid, or I am ugly. Now, we don't think that there's parents out there going around telling their kids that you're fat, stupid, and ugly. This is where you're talking about the taught or caught. This is where they, oh, I feel so fat today when they're kind of joking around with their, a mom talking about with her friend kind of thing. Or they're gossiping a little bit about somebody else that they're not being so kind about. And when the kids see that, they know what their perception of that person is. But again, they think that their role models are almost infallible, right? So that they must be wrong. And when we found that over half the kids had that negative self-image, that's when we realized that it was a bigger problem than we even thought that there was.
And how much does social media in play with this? Is people giving their best selves and this idea of this is what I want people to think I am seems to be the biggest energy suck between I am and this is what I want people to think I am.
Oh, absolutely. So if you think that social media is an honest representation, then you're kind of doomed, right? Because there's all these people out there living perfect lives in perfect worlds. And I'm stuck in this not so perfect life and not so perfect world. So if we can get to them and show them that these are people who are, for lack of a better term, putting up a front. And if you really want to take that a step further, those people who are putting up a front, then the negative energy that they're creating within themselves to put up that front is actually keeping them from getting to what they want to be and where they want to go.
Yeah, and there's so much within that pertaining to also the meaning of our past. It seems to me that a lot of kids dwell on the normal mistakes, setbacks, and failures that exist as children, and as parents, having to deal with a false facade and expectation that is unreasonable causes, once again, this energy gap of negativity, interference between them and their pursuit of their own potential. So many kids are worried about what they don't have because of what
Mm.
existed in the past, or what they don't want, even worse, because of their past, or more, as we have spoken already, about what other people think or want for us is a big problem. But what about in the realm of giving meaning to the past, of what we don't want or what's missing, and really dwelling in on that?
Well, I think the best answer to that question that I can think of is I believe that every child is born with all of the traits and characteristics that they need to be successful, not only as a kid, but throughout their life. And it's the things that they quote unquote learn from the parents and the adults around them as they're growing up that kind of beats that out of them. So I firmly believe that there's three traits that are innate in every child, that if we just kept those throughout the rest of our lives, that the world would be a completely different place. So the number one is persistence, right? We talked about that about, kids just don't give up. That's a learned trait that they get from the people around them. Number two is curiosity, right? Kids are always asking questions. And they're asking those questions because they have gaps in their understanding that they need to fill. And I believe that when any person, a child or an adult, loses curiosity, that the horizons of your world fold up to become the walls of your box. And then the third one is ingenuity, right? I use the example of we've all seen it where a kid will get a gift, right? And they'll take the gift out of the box, and the gift will look, they're kind of like, and they'll put it away. And oftentimes they'd rather play with the box that the gift came in than the gift itself. And that's because they are naturally creative. They're naturally ingenious. That box can be anything, right? Depending on the size of it, it could be a car, an airplane, a boat. It could be a house, a fort, you name it. You can cut it up and make smaller things out of it. And that's where the kids really thrive because that's when those connections in their brain are just going crazy. Whereas the toy or the gift that came in the box usually has a purpose. And once you're done with it, okay, you're done with it. So I think that if people can just keep those three things, their life will be vastly improved, their business will be better off, et cetera.
Yeah, we had talked about, the different mechanisms and modalities in developing the world's first educational reality based solutions, from Power to the Pupils to I Am for Kids Academy. but you're also developing an animated TV show for kids as well. That content being distributed and utilizing the post production content for a different type of amplification. How important is it to develop a TV show for your platform?
It's vital. And for two reasons. So number one is that that's how we get to the masses. Okay, so the school program that we've already created now, it's a very much a beta version. The characters that are in that don't look like the ones that are more polished and will be in the TV show. But all the educators that we took it to says, don't wait for perfect. We need you to get this out now. But that's what's going to get us to the masses. And it's also what's going to allow us, because of our model of giving the public a say in nominating the true kid story. So for those of you who aren't familiar, our TV show is going to be real stories of real kids, most of which who have gone through the school program and the impact that they are making in whether it be their family, their communities, and sometimes even beyond. So we give the public the opportunity to nominate the kids. They are also going to vote for the stories that become the episodes for the next season's shows. And the great thing about what you were talking about with the advances in AI for both content creation, we'd be able to customize that literally around the world so that we can have in Asia, in China, in Japan, in France, in Germany, et cetera, that their own little, for lack of a term, like sub version of I Am for Kids. And this will allow kids to be able to then be, with their parents' permission, of course, to then become future I Am for Kids characters.
There's so many ways that we can help our future, but the number one way is to empower others, and empowering our children and their families with the concept of I am and teaching them what they're doing to interfere with it. We can support this amazing effort with the founder of I Am for Kids at wefunder.com/ I am for kids. Uh, and we can help others with the personal development, the adult attainment for kids and families. Think Tony Robbins meets Charlie Brown with the incredible founder of I Am for Kids, Mark Papadas. Thank you so much for joining me, David Meltzer, here on Entrepreneurs, the Playbook.